Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today I am doing a video that I haven't done over here in a really long time. I am doing a book haul and I guess I have an assistant. Hello Tucker, would you like to say hi to everybody? He says hello everybody. He just put his little paw on my arm. Today I'm doing a book haul over here. I'm really excited. I haven't done a book haul on this channel and I mean it has literally been months. So let me get a little thumbnail. I have all these books here. So here is my ginormous book haul. I mean, not really, but I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books to talk about today that I have hauled. Some of these books I purchased before we were on lockdown and couldn't leave the house. Others I have purchased from Amazon and some other places. And I just wanted to get on here today and talk about it. If you watch my vlog, which many people have said has turned into a booktube channel because I talk about books over there at length. I talk about the books I'm listening to, the books I'm reading. I talk about books from the True Crime Book Club, which this month we are doing an entire month dedicated to Eileen Wuornos. We are reading Dead Ends. I've already finished it, and we're reading another book, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then we're watching the movie Monster. We're watching the documentaries about Eileen Wuornos. It's just a whole, we're watching Overkill, which was recommended by Nisha. I just finished this movie the other night. All of these things can be found for free on YouTube. All the documentaries are free on YouTube. I found them over there because I thought they were on Amazon Prime and they're not. So everything you can find and you can follow along with us. If you'd like to join the book club, it is listed below on Goodreads, the True Crime Book Club, period. Mel and I are the hosts of that book club. And if you'd like to follow Mel, she has her own bookstagram. It is called GingerGonzoReads and she is listed below as well. So yeah, this is a really exciting month for the book club. And for all of you out there that love the Facebook, we are starting a Facebook group for the book club, so it'll be more interactive. And that way when people say, hey, how do I join the book club? We can just say, go over to the Facebook, because I know a lot of people don't have Goodreads. Okay, so let's get into this month's book. Well, I guess, or this month's haul, or this century's haul, since I haven't hauled in a long time. Before we get into the other books that I hauled, there's like a hair hanging off the end of my hat, always. It drives me crazy. I guess I should talk about one of the books that is part of the True Crime Book Club this month. So I already did a video announcing everything. And the main book that we're reading is called Dead Ends. And I finished it. It's good. I know a lot about Eileen Wuornos. She's somebody that I have followed, like, the whole, like, well, she's not with us anymore. She was executed. But I followed the story for a long time. I watched all the documentaries. I've seen the movie Monster. So I know a lot about Eileen Wuornos. The movie Dead End, or the book Dead Ends was not bad. I think I gave it 3 stars just because it was like one of those books you would buy at the grocery store. It didn't get into anything really in-depth. There were a few things that I didn't know detail-wise of some of the cases, but other than that, there wasn't a whole lot. Mel and I wanted to read an extra credit book this month, and this was a book that we both wanted to make the True Crime Book Club of the month. But it's not available on Audible, it's not available in most libraries, and it's hard to get. So, this is our extra credit book for the month, and it is Dear Dawn, Eileen Wuornos in her own words. And I purchased this on Amazon. I think it was like $11 or $12, and there's my ring light, can you see? It was like $11 or $12, and it took me like 2 weeks to get in the mail, I think, something like that. So, let me read, and it literally is all of her letters that Eileen Wuornos, you can see in her own handwriting and everything, that she wrote to her best friend Dawn. I think this is from Eileen right here. Hold on a second. Yeah, love Eileen at the end of it. And that has a lot of her artwork and things in here because Eileen did a lot of her artwork. Between 1989 and 1990, Eileen Wuornos, a hitchhiking prostitute, shot, killed, and robbed 7 men in remote Florida locations. Arrested in 1991, Wuornos insisted she had acted in self-defense, but the jury had little sympathy. Condemned to death on 6 separate counts, she was executed by lethal injection in 2002. An abused runaway who turned to prostitution to survive, Wuornos has become an iconic avenger, a queen of vigilante justice. I don't really think of her that way, which is real interesting when you read that. This book is worth it alone just for the introduction, which I have already started this book. So anyway, she has also become a touchstone for women, prostitutes, and prisoners' rights, which I was not aware of. Her story has inspired many books and articles, as well as the 2003 movie Monster, for which Charlize Theron won an Academy Award. But until now, Wuornos' uncensored voice has never been heard. Dear Dawn is Wuornos' autobiography called from her 10-year death row correspondence with beloved childhood friend Dawn Botkins. Authorized for publication by Warnos and edited under the guidance of Bodkins, the letters not only offer Warnos' riveting reflections on the murders, legal battles, and media coverage, but go further, revealing her fears and obsessions, her rich humor and empathy, and her gradual disintegration as her execution approached. A candid life story told to a close confidant, Dear Dawn is a compelling narrative, unwaveringly true to its source. Now, I have to tell you one of the things that's interesting about this, and it's discussed in a lot of the books and the documentaries and things, is who is making the money off these books. Eileen Wuornos also helped write the book Monster, which is a true story of what happened. Now, if you're not aware, there's a law called the Son of Sam Law, and the Son of Sam Law says that people that have killed other people cannot benefit, or the family members cannot benefit off the sale of their books, which then goes into question about the daughter that wrote about the BTK killer. We read that in our book club. It was not, I didn't think, the finest work ever. I did not like the book. But it goes in there and it talks, you know, so they do address that in the documentaries, the Son of Sam Law, of like who is making the money in this. And it's never really addressed. So it'll be interesting if it comes out in this book. Now, I do want to tell you, when I started this introduction, which is by, hold on a second, it's by Phyllis Chelser, Manhattan, 2011, and this is who the foreword is by. I don't know who that person is, okay? But when you read this introduction, it is interesting, the picture they paint of Eileen Wuornos compared to what many of us think. For example, Dear Lee, it says, This letter is for you. Even though you've been dead for many years, I am still talking to you. Face it, you've entered the world's imagination and pried it wide open. You're a real folk hero outlaw. Like Jesse James, or that rebel without a cause, James Dean. Are you laughing your ass off, in quotes? Or do you feel ripped off, in quotes? Every time some made-for-TV movie, true crime book, film, documentary, opera, play, or academic article about you appears? And then it goes in, baby, imagine the plight of Vincent van Gogh. I don't necessarily think of Eileen Wuornos and Vincent van Gogh in the same light, but he was, but I digress. He was a goddamn genius who barely escaped by. Centuries later, people are still making a fortune off of his work. I can almost hear you putting it this way. And then it gets in there, you hit the ground running before either Thelma or Louise came to town. And then it goes in here and it talks about her and how she is seen as like this, hold on a second. I want to get to the part that, I just want to read this one part to you. Okay, wait. For years, feminists talked about how they like to blow the bad guys away. They never did. It was only battered women who, one by one, finally killed their tormentors in self-defense, and they were all mainly jailed forever after. Hell, girl, some feminists believe that you killed for them and were going to die for what they couldn't do. To them, you're some kind of outlaw Jesus. You have to marvel at it all. And then it goes on and says, lesbian feminists marched for you with banners that read, Free Eileen Wuornos. Feminist supporters wrote to you in droves. Many ended up sending me their correspondence with you. I even visited your true love, Tyria, who is absolutely nothing like the character in the film Monster. If anything, she seems tougher, far more butch than you. I guess we hit it off because she also gave me your letters to her. I even tracked down your biological mother, and it goes on and on and on. I don't know. I'm surprised, and this is the person that put the book together apparently, but it's edited by somebody completely different. I'm surprised that she is referred to in here, and I could be completely wrong, as some kind of outlaw Jesus. But this is going to be an interesting take on Eileen Wuornos, and I have to say, I have a feeling this will be something I have never seen before, never read before, because I haven't seen the personal letters. So I'm really, really interested in getting into this, and as you can see, I'm like right at the beginning right now. So, and yes, I do dog ear books now. It's something I have fallen in love with in the last 2 years. I used to use bookmarks, but I don't anymore. I dog ear because I feel like it really gets into the book more. And I have gone on and on and on about this book. So if you've read this, let me know what you think, or participate in the book club this month. Okay, the next book, well, I think I actually talked about this maybe in a haul before, but if I didn't, I'm going to talk about it now. And this is another book that I'm reading right now, and it is Supermarket, and it is by Bobby Hall, who is also the singer Logic. And it says, Flynn is stuck, depressed, recently dumped, and living in his mom's house. The supermarket was supposed to change all that. An ordinary job and a steady check. Work isn't work when it's saving you from yourself. But things aren't quite as they seem in the aisles. Arriving to work one day to a crime scene, Flynn's world collapses as the secrets of his tortured mind are revealed. And Flynn doesn't want to go looking for answers at the supermarket because something there seems to be looking for him. A darkly funny psychological thriller, Supermarket is a gripping exploration into madness and creativity. Who knew you could find sex, drugs, and murder all in aisle 9? I think think I've read this on here actually before, but I will tell you, I started it. It's very, very good. And it honestly, it's weird. It kind of has hints, and it doesn't seem like he's imitating it. It really doesn't. It has hints of like Catcher in the Rye, but like an older version of that, and more of like a suburban version of Catcher in the Rye. It also reminds me of some other things too. I can't remember now what I talked about it in my vlog. But even the cover, if you look at the cover, even the cover kind of reminds me of the Catcher in the Rye cover, you see? Doesn't it kind of? I mean, there's a cover that's almost identical, this color. And maybe, I should have just pulled it over here. And maybe it is, I'm actually going to do that. Hold on. So my husband told me that he rearranged the bookshelves. He goes, I just did like the bottom two shelves so that more books could fit in there. And I tried to let go of the control. Now y'all know, okay, as bookish people over here, somebody else having control over our bookshelves. But I didn't look, and I just was like, okay, and I said, oh, it still looks the same. I thought, I'll just let it go, right? Trying to let go of some things around the house. I just went over, and all of my books are reorganized, like all of them. Like, my books I haven't read are mixed in with my books that I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, we're gonna have a conversation about that because I'm gonna have to fix those bookshelves. I went right for where I know Catcher in the Rye. Y'all know that you know right where your book is. I went right for where the Catcher in the Rye is, and I was like, and I have 2 copies, and I was like, what happened? It's like not there anymore. But anyway, see if you see any similarities, and maybe it's meant to be this way. I don't know. But here is Supermarket, and here is Catcher in the Rye. I just think, like, even like it's the yellow and the orange. I don't know. I just feel like come on. There cannot be. So anyway. But if you've read this book, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I mean, I started it. I got into it at first, and I was kind of like, whatever. Okay. Now, I have been watching Schitt's Creek. My husband got me started on it. I'm obsessed with Schitt's Creek. It is one of the most endearing shows. Like, it's very, very funny, but it's also extremely endearing, and I love it. And I love Dan Levy. I have fallen in love with Dan Levy. I love everything about him. I think he's hilarious. I think he's good looking. I think he's just a really, really cool guy. So anyway, I've been watching a lot of interviews with Dan Levy, and he did this one thing on YouTube, and it was like 10 things I can't live without, and they were all like very high end and stuff. But one of them was the book Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. And 2 years ago when we started the book club, and it wasn't a true crime book club, we were going to read The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion because I had seen this documentary about Joan Didion. I fell in love with Joan Didion. I love everything about her, but I hadn't read anything of her, so I was going to read that. But since he said in there, he goes, I carry this with me everywhere I go, and whatever. So I purchased this on I think this is our very first book of like fiction or nonfiction. It's our very first book of nonfiction essays. And I purchased this on Amazon. I have no idea how much it was. So it says, a half century after its initial publication in 1968, Joan Didion's Slouching Towards Bethlehem remains the essential portrait of America, and California in particular, during the 60s. The remarkable debut essay collection by one of the most distinctive prose stylists of our era, it explores such subjects as John Wayne and Howard Hughes, growing up in California, the nature of good and evil in a Death Valley motel room, and San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury, the heart of the counterculture. As Dan Wakefield wrote in the New York Times, do you know Dan Wakefield is from Indiana? I'm almost positive of that. Don't quote me on that, but I think Dan Wakefield is from Indiana. That's where I'm saying it because I'm from back home again in Indiana. As Dan Wakefield wrote in the New York Times Times book review, in her portraits of people, Didion is not out to expose, but to understand. She makes them neither villainous nor glamorous, but alive and botched, and often mournfully beautiful. I'm so excited. And the picture of her is her just like sitting there smoking a cigarette. I live. I live for Joan Didion. So if you haven't seen the documentary about Joan Didion, go check it out. It's fantastic. And the book is not long, and it's short essays. So I'm real excited about this. But I do have to tell you, I'm going to save this for when it's warmer weather and I can go lay out by the pool. All right. Now, the next book, I bought this at Half Price Books. I'm sure it's a real winner. Okay, you can see I paid $4.99 for it. And that is Evil Women, Deadlier Than the Male. I don't know, but it says, many people find it impossible to believe women are capable of committing brutal murders just like men, but this book shows otherwise. Catherine Knight donned a black negligee before stabbing her lover, John Price, 37 times, then serving up his corpse for dinner with baked potatoes, pumpkin, and all the trimmings, my lord. Sue Basso became supermarket packer Buddy Musso's lady love, but his dreams of happiness were shredded when she and her friends tortured him to death for a paltry $15,000 life insurance policy. Shelley Michael injected her husband with a drug that led to death by slow suffocation. Then she set their house on fire. My God. Each of the cases documented here makes for a chilling read, proving that the female really can be deadlier than the male. And you see they have Eileen Wuornos' picture on the front, but they didn't even mention her. Poor Eileen. That outlaw Jesus. She's just getting used left and right. Okay, then the next two books are books that I wanted to read some graphic novels, so I got on Amazon and I just put in like graphic novels. And this one came up first and I was really excited about it. It's called Dregg's Island by Dr. Monn Blossman and Zach Meyer. Here, I'll read it to you. 17-year-old Alex Carden is falsely convicted of a felony. It is 6 years after President Gray's Prison Reform Act of 2026. It's a dystopian book. Prisons have been shut down across the United States, and all felons must serve life sentences on isolated private islands or prison islands where escape is impossible, and rules of civility are obsolete. Alex is banished to Dregg's Island and must rely on his sharp intuition as nobody can be trusted. To survive, he must defeat the ruthless ruler of the island, who is a legendary serial killer back on the mainland. Do you see a theme here with my books? Alex is forced to make decisions along the way that weigh survival against humankind and family against friendship. So I was really excited about this because I wanted to read kind of like an action-packed graphic novel. But when I purchased it, okay, it was in with the graphic novels. And I believe it said, I could be wrong, but I probably am. But it said graphic novels. So when I got it home and it was not a graphic novel, I was not happy. I was really upset about this. But anyway, it does have a shark on the bottom down there, so I'll probably read that one of these days. We'll see. But the other graphic novel that I bought, and then this is so funny because it goes the other way, is The City of Ember, the graphic novel. And it had all of these great reviews on there, and the pictures are absolutely beautiful inside, okay? And it had all of these great reviews for it on Amazon. And then I read this, okay? You've read about the City of Ember. No, this is the first thing it says on the back. I'm thinking, I never have. Never have I ever heard of the City of Ember. You've read about the City of Ember. Now see it in a vivid, full-color graphic novel. And I'm like, damn it, Janet. If I didn't order this crap over here thinking it was a graphic novel and it came as a book, and then this one, the book is probably better than the graphic novel, and now I have the graphic novel. It said that, It is said that the City of Ember is the only light in the dark world. Without Ember's great lamps, the darkness would last forever. Now the lights are flickering and supplies are running low. When Lena and Dune find a mysterious document that might hold the answer, they must decipher its meaning before it's too late. Here's the best part, you ready? Since 2003, readers all over the world have been captivated by Jean Duprow's story about a doomed city and the two children determined to find a way out. I've never heard of this book in my entire life. Am I the only one? New and old fans alike, or I guess a new fan, are in for a treat as artist Nicholas Asker brings this modern-day classic to life in page after page of gorgeous full-color panels. So pissed. I'm so mad! Anyway. And then the last book, and I'm really, really excited about this book, but this will be a long read. Okay, this will be like over the course of the summer, I think, that I'll read this. So I was talking in my vlog one night, and so now if you don't know, I have a vlog called Peter Vlogs. I vlog every single day. I've been doing it from my driveway since we've been on lockdown for an hour and a half every night about that. I drink a Diet Coke, and I just talk about stuff. So Dane in there left a comment, and she said, have you heard of the book House of Leaves? It has like a huge cult following. Well, if you know me with movies and documentaries and music and things like that, I love anything that has kind of this mysterious cult following to it. I think it's very cool, very chic. You know what I mean? Anyway, bougie, but not. So anyway, I was like, no, I've never heard of this book. What is this book? But if it has a cult following, I have to read it, right? I've never heard of this book, The House of Leaves. So anyway, she was like, yeah, it's supposedly really difficult to read. So then I got online and I read an article about it and I read all this kind of stuff. And I was like, because it's supposedly like all different kinds of print and written on the side and pictures and all kinds of different fonts and everything to read this book. And it's supposedly really, really hard to read. And that you can never read this book. No two people can read this book the same way. And you can never read it the same way twice, right? And then I read this interview with the author, who is very, very cool. And then I found the author is Mark Z. Danielewski, who then Mel told me that the author's sister is the main singer from Poe. Okay, so the band's Poe. So I think that's who she said. Yeah, but anyway. So this is the book, House of Leaves. I'm really excited about this. You guys, it is like crazy looking. I mean, it has, first of all, it is a table of contents at the back, okay? That is like literally pages and pages long, this table of contents. Okay, so when you go in here, you can see it's like some of it is typewritten, and then some of it just has blank pages and stuff written at the very bottom. I mean, tons and tons of just blank pages. And then it goes up and down. Where is it where it's just written? There's some, okay, you can see here. Like symbols and stuff. So I'm very excited to read this. There's pictures. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Okay, and it's about this guy who I think he finds out that his house is 1 inch smaller, 1 inch bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Years ago, when House of Leaves was first being passed around, it was nothing more than a badly bundled heap of paper, parts of which would occasionally surface on the internet. No one could have anticipated the small but devoted following this terrifying story would soon command. Starting with an odd assortment of marginalized youths, musicians, tattoo artists, programmers, strippers, environmentalists, and adrenaline junkies, the book eventually made its way into the hands of older generations, who not only found themselves in those strangely arranged pages, but also discovered a way back into the lives of their estranged children. Now, for the first time, this astonishing novel is made available in book form, complete with the original colored words, vertical footnotes, and newly added second and third appendices. The story remains unchanged, focusing on a young family that moved into a small home on Ash Tree Lane where they discover something terribly wrong. Their house, which on this white font is in blue, their house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Of course, neither Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist Will Davidson nor his companion Karen Green was prepared to face the consequences of that impossibility until the day their two little children wandered off and their voices eerily began to return another story of creature darkness, of ever-growing abyss behind a closet door, and of that unholy growl which soon enough would tear through their walls and consume all of their dreams. Doesn't this sound amazing? I'm so excited to read this. New York Times Book Review. Funny, moving, sexy, beautifully told, and elaborate engagement with the shape and meaning of narrative. San Francisco Examiner and Chronicle. A rollicking, Pinchkin-esque oddity. Oh my god, I can't read this. A Nabokovian linguistic obsession and a Borgesian unreality. House of Leaves jumps and skips and plays with genre-wrecking abandon, postmodern panache, and an obsessively imaginative scope that absolutely shames most books on the market today. And Newsweek said one of the most ambitious, complicated, and eagerly anticipated literary debuts of the year. House of Leaves is like no other novel you've ever read. So anyway, have you read it? Time Out New York says, a love story by a semiotican. Daniel Losky has a songwriter's heart as attuned to heartache as he is to Derrida's theory on the sign. I don't know what that means, and none of it makes sense to me. It's all over my head. I almost didn't graduate from high school. But anyway, I am going to read this book, and I am really excited about it. It kind of reminds me of the zines back in the day that were passed around. You had to get them to, like, find out what was going to happen next. Or the cartoon Apartment 3B. My grandma used to read that. Do you remember, like, every day it would have just one picture, and you had to read it every day to find out what was going to happen? Can you imagine? Did it ever end? Anyway, what do you think about all those books? If you have read some of these books, put it in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.